Hey, I'm Saving Content Zone at Acosta, and welcome to dotEXE, a saving content podcast. It's episode number 24, and riding shotgun in the passenger seat of my Grand Theft automobile is Eric Acosta.
Yeah, boys, it's me, shotgunning.
Shotgun is probably the least used weapon I have used.
The least used weapon I have used.
Hush.
You've used... So
Hush.
you've used the word used more than you have the shotgun, is what you're saying?
Yes. That is an accurate statement.
Well, I mean, I use that more on the sub.
Okay, you know what? I even stopped using it on the sub.
Really?
Yes, I just went back to using the little SMG.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it
But
works.
Shotgun is beneficial on the sub, but it was the only place I ever used it.
Yeah, well, because every time when you're playing GTA, you're not really close quarters.
No. It's only some of those buildings, but mostly the sub.
Yeah.
Well, it's been another week. Anything happening this past week that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing, like like always, Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires. I finally finished that.
Aha.
I've ruled all of China now.
China belongs to you.
China belongs to Professor Lin Kuei.
Or is it Professor Lin Kuei's child?
Oh, I guess, yeah. So if you haven't played Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires, spoiler, if you are married at the end of the game, you have a child. And then that you can then play like a new game plus, which is basically just another game, but they auto create a warrior, a created warrior for you that it has like the attributes of both the mom and the dad.
Right.
And basically, I guess the skills and appearance comes from the father, and like the fighting style and something else comes from the mother. Or the weapon or something.
Yeah, I forget what the cross pollination is there, but because your character pulls from both of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Because my character ended up being basically looked just like Professor Lin Kuei, just no glasses. He had the same goatee.
Right.
But had this stance and weaponry of Lian Shi, who's the one that I married.
I mean, he looks like Lu Shu.
Yeah, the Zelda looking. You talking about the short Zelda looking kid with the two short swords?
Yeah, the two daggers on Wu.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, it looks like him, but with Zhuge Liang's face.
Yeah, basically. I mean, almost. Yeah, it's like a perfect cross. No, I changed his outfit because they gave him like a female-esque clothing.
Well, they gave him the I guess you call it prince's robes, like Lu Xun would wear.
Yeah, I mean, he, I guess, essentially is a prince, right? Because, I now rule all of China.
Right.
I guess I become, what is it, Jin?
I guess it depends on when you were playing. Like, I was playing during Yellow Turban, so...
Yes.
Technically, it would be Jin. No, Jin was before Yellow Turban. It would be...
No, Han's before Yellow Turban. Then it's Wu, Shu, and Wei, and the Wei turns into Jin, because that's where Sima Yi's from. Like that's
okay. So then mine,
and that's what ends up ending all of China.
Right. Okay. So mine would technically have been the Han. I would have formed Han.
Yeah, you would have continued the Han dynasty, because and I guess that would have been what mine was, because I started at the Yellow Turban, but yeah, because I continued the Han dynasty because the emperor then. Well, no, because you become emperor and you still go through the same thing. You know.
Right, but you don't get like the individual battles or anything like that. It's like as if you were doing that section of history. The Yellow Turban Rebellion, it would be the Yellow Turban Rebellion of history. And then whatever the next one is I can't remember. I think Hulao Gate was one of them. It's like,
okay, Hulao Gate is one. I don't think it's the next one.
It's not the next one, but it is like one of the options you can choose from the list of where to start.
Yeah, see, I was actually one of those things I was confused about because, like, so I started out the Yellow Turban Rebellion, right?
So I
What?
believe all that does is where it places generals.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. It was just like a starting point of where the generals are and who their allegiances are to.
Yeah. I'm
Okay, that's
pretty
what I
sure that's
figured.
where what that ends up doing.
Yeah, I didn't. I played the one through, and I'm like, yep, I've got my taste of empires. I'm good. I'm
I
gonna move on to something else.
Yeah, I just want 10 and I want them to actually, what's the best way to put it? Pay attention maybe uh to what they're doing, kind of like what they do with like some of the Nintendo ones where they actually are well, I think the Warriors games are good. But
Yeah,
they put a little more focus into the Nintendo ones because they are hotter properties. And so people actually enjoy those and they have like quality of life improvements and things in there that would be nice to have.
the main line, the
Yeah.
one that started it all.
Yeah.
I actually was asked. Keegan asked me a question a while ago. He asked me, "What property would I like to see Dynasty Warrior? Like how they did Zelda, the Hyrule Warriors." He asked me like, "What IP, what video game property would I like to see be in a Dynasty Warrior treatment?" And I'm like, I don't know what would
Hmm.
make sense. Like I thought, like
GI Joe,
me, GI Joe, no,
Ninja
Inspector Gadget.
Turtles.
Uh,
No, I've got a list. GI Joe, Ninja Turtles, Transformers,
See, Transformers, I would be up for.
games that would have uh a group that would just be cannon fodder and that would have a ton of characters to choose from. GI
Right,
Joe definitely has that. Ninja Turtles definitely has that, and you can kind of get by with Transformers. Uh, I mean, most of the Transformers games in the past, what, 30 years, have used just generic robots as your cannon fodder. So, well,
right.
precedent is there. But Ninja Turtles, you got all the different color foot soldiers you can attack, and then with GI Joe, you just got different, Cobra or different Joe troops that are just generic.
Right. Well, and that was my hardest part is like the game IPs that I like wouldn't fit into that world. Like Assassin's Creed, you kind of could, but there's just not enough characters.
No, and it's not really the same
Um
type of
it's
game.
just not the same type of fighting, right?
Like, yeah, because you're an assassin, so you want to be
Yeah.
stealthy. You're not really out
You're
there.
not mowing down hundreds of people.
Right.
The others IPs that I like, like Metal Gear Solid or Metal Gear. Can't really do that with Metal Gear.
Yeah, also another stealthy
Again,
one.
stealthy game. Horizon. Can't really do that with Horizon. There's not nearly enough cannon fodder people
Mm-mm.
to justify that. Um, and it
Right, but
wouldn't make sense with Aloy. Like,
even then, even if you had cannon fodder enemies, the game's got to be able to support multiple characters too.
yeah. Well, there's a fair amount of characters in Horizon. There's not as nearly as many as in Dynasty Warriors by no means,
Right.
but
And that's what you
um,
kinda gotta look at because you're the Zelda ones and, like, the Persona ones, they
mhm,
have a whole cast of characters. It's not just like, "Well, here's 10."
right. The only thing that I would like to see, and this is just because I'm a dork, and I would love to see a them come out of the fighting game world is Mortal Kombat.
Oh, well, I mean, they did something similar with, Shaolin Monks.
Yeah, that
I
I
would like
see.
to see a Shaolin Monks too.
I would like to see a Shaolin Monks too, or not necessarily the Shaolin Monks, but like that idea,
Mhm.
Dynasty Warrior, so I can play all the characters
Oh,
and
sure, yeah.
literally and just destroy the Outworld or invade Adenia or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I would love that. I think that'd be kind of cool. I do think we are in a minority in that. Uh
Well, it would be neat. Imagine like you would go around as like Scorpion or something. you're just doing regular combos like, XXY type things. And if you want to do a special, you just hold down like a shoulder button and input the actual combo from the game.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. And then, I mean, you could literally be like, if you wanted to be Shao Kahn or work with Shao Kahn to rule all of that 8 realms or whatever it is.
Yeah, you could play the story from,
Eight.
one of two or one of three sides.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool, and I think would be a cool way of trying to telling the story, because it would be a different way of telling that Mortal Kombat story, because things happen like all at the same time. So when you're playing the fighting mode story,
Uh,
it's you go through it as one character and you get part of it, and then you go through it another character, you get another part. Now the recent ones, it was actual like cohesive story, but like the older ones, you had to play it with every character to get all the endings to see what was going to happen. But I don't know.
well, yeah, I mean, and then well, would it be 3D endings if you did a Dynasty Warriors version, or would it be like would they harken back to the old arcade where it's just like a static screen with story?
I would hate that. I would really hate that. I would want a 3D ending. I mean, we're
I
in
want
the age of 3D.
I
I
want
want a
them
dimension.
to recreate the ending of Dynasty Warriors 3, but with Mortal Kombat characters.
Yes.
Just go in like uh
Ah.
a day in the life of moments, have different random people uh dancing to a song. Yeah,
Right? What
that'd be
was that?
great. Uh-huh. It's in my Spotify playlist. It is
I mean,
on Spotify.
those weren't the actual words, audience. That was just what I've heard. Uh,
Uh I believe it is I I think it's in Chinese.
it probably is. That would
I
make sense.
I don't I feel bad if it's actually in one of the other Asian languages, but I think it's Chinese.
Or like Mandarin or something. I mean, because China's got multiple languages.
Well, yes. Uh I'm just using it as a catch-all because I
Oh,
don't
I see.
know.
You mean
Like,
another culture language?
yes,
Okay.
culturally it's in Chinese. I don't know which specific dialect it would be.
Other than that, Dynasty Warriors. We've been playing the obligatory Minecraft. We played
Yes.
Plexiglass Mountain, and we also played Lockout, made
Yes.
famous by Small Ant, I believe, is was who it was made for.
Oh. You
Twitch
guys
streamer.
introduced me to it.
Yeah, so Lockout was Minecraft mod. I think it's for 1.18 version. Um, that was made for a YouTuber. He like requested it or something to be made for him. I don't remember the person who actually made the mod. I could probably get that.
Well,
He
what
he
is the for
owns it.
those who don't know, what is lockout?
Okay. Oh, here we go. Mod was created by @ for small ant. For small ant. Lockout is basically you play the vanilla Minecraft. It is a 1.18 version. It's a speedrun race. So you have 2 teams. And you're given a set of 25 random goals or tasks to complete. Once one person/team completes a goal, that other person/team cannot get that goal. They can still do the thing, but they just won't get any points for it,
Right,
right?
it's like checking it off a list.
Exactly. And then the first to 13 goals wins. What makes this fun is it's not just like, you know, gather diamond or, find coal. There are things like defeat the Ender Dragon, find an um, end city. One is collect the Elytra wings. There are some that are like hit the opponent with a snowball. We can talk
Uh-huh.
that one in a little bit.
Uh-huh.
There's one where it is if you craft a crafting table, the other team gets a point.
Yeah, the first
Oh,
one to craft the something or other, whether it's a crafting table or one other item, there's stuff in there that's like craft this first and the other team gets it. So it
right.
kind of forces your hand to be like, oh, I shouldn't do this yet until it's like accidentally done.
Necessary. And that was actually, and then there's other ones like first person to have fall damage, the other team gets a point. Die by bee stings, like there's a lot more than just like a collect this thing. Um, Me and Des found it uh with Jeremy Dooley. Him and his wife Kat Dooley were playing it.
Right.
Um, and then he made sure to say like, this is not mine. This was made for small ant. So it was somebody else's, but that was where we saw it. Um, but like there's the one that the craft, first to make a crafting table, the other team gets the point. I have been trying to figure out if I could craft the table, throw it out of my inventory. So craft it, because you know how you have to craft it and you click on it to put it into your inventory.
Uh-huh.
I don't think you get the points until it's in your inventory. So I wondered if I crafted it next to you and threw it at you and you picked it up, would we get the point?
But I
Because I
don't
never
know.
put it in. I would have
I don't know
clicked
how
it,
that would work.
but would never put it into my inventory.
Right.
So I've been meaning to try that, but every time we got that one, uh, the only time we got that one, Des just said screw it, and she just made the crafting table. I was like, no, 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 no. She's like, I'm okay with giving that point away.
Like, whoops.
But yeah, you've got a story about the lockout.
So a couple things, I guess. First, we'll say so there was a challenge where you had to hit somebody with a snowball.
Yes.
And I was going all over the map trying to find a jungle biome so I can craft something with bamboo.
Oh,
So
because it was one that you needed to make a scaffold.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm going all over the island, looking at my map and everything, trying to find something. And I eventually found a snow biome. I'm like, oh, I can go ahead and get the snow while I'm here. So I grab the snow, and then I figure I'm gonna grab like 3 sets of, I think the max you can hold is 16, just in case I miss.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's like ender pearls. Any pearl ones you can only hold 16.
So from there, I look at my compass. You have a compass that you
Oh,
start
right.
with, and that points you to a direction of any player. You can switch it between whichever players. And so I had it switched to you at first.
Yeah, I know you did.
And I went over to find you, and you were in the water doing something. So I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. And then as you were about to get back in the boat, I started throwing the snowballs, but it missed.
Yep, I saw it go flying by my face.
Uh, so I'm like, okay, bye. I left. So then I pulled up the compass to find Des, and I found where she was at. But I was a little more careful this time. This time I was like on the outskirt of like where everything would kind of chunk in, or like the blocks would
Yeah,
appear.
load. Yeah.
Uh so it's like, okay, I can kind of see you, and I can see you going down in the water. So I'm biding my time, thinking, okay, maybe I'll get her when she comes out of the water. But then I could run into the same thing that happened with Eric. So I'm just, following her around, going in circles. And every time she would get back in the boat and go, but then make a U turn, I would turn myself around and just book it the other direction, knowing that she probably saw me, but hoping that maybe she thought that, oh, I just happened to, swim on by.
Well, she was worried because she said, "Oh, look at it." I'm like, "He's got snowballs. Watch out." So she's like, "No."
So what had happened was she came up for air on one of them and hopped in her boat and started, making her way towards land. And I'm following, and I realize, oh, she's actually going to go dock. Oh, this is the perfect time. So I speed up, and as she hops out of the boat, I'm close enough that I stand up in the boat and I throw a snowball at her. And you go, he hit you? That's like,
She's
I
like,
don't know.
"What?
I don't know.
What?" Like, no, no, no.
I
I was like,
played the
"You
long
failed."
game.
Yes, yes. That was fun.
Yeah, it
Um,
was enjoyable. I like that, just kind of these random goals that they set for you.
the only problem is, Genevieve was on Ed's team, and after the goals of, like, what
After they
were I
got
don't
a
wanna
little
say
harder.
yeah, not I wanna say easily attainable, but ones that she could probably do were done, she started playing Minecraft like normal. She started this like, she just made a chicken farm and basically stopped playing the lockout.
Which was fine, she was doing her thing. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I was doing my best trying to figure out what I could do next and everything. So uh I ended up making a nether portal out of obsidian from a lava pit that I found.
Which me and Des took. We could not find enough lava to save our life. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I would just go around, the edges of the island, pull up my map and see, okay, is there any orange here? Oh, no orange here. Okay. And just keep going around. And eventually I found a spot where was like a little tiny bit of orange. So then I hop back in and walk towards it. And it was just this nice big pool of lava. I'm like,
Ah.
this is it. This is perfect.
Yeah, see, we didn't have maps. We didn't make maps. We should have. We didn't.
You didn't have maps?
No.
I didn't have to make a map.
What do you mean you have to make a map?
I just pressed M.
Uh,
Yeah, I pressed M and I set waypoints. That's how I found my way back home. You guys didn't do that?
we didn't have that.
How do I have it?
I don't know.
I have the same mod as you guys.
Yeah, there was no. I don't think there was an M because I'm pretty. It was a 1.18 vanilla on the what do you call it?
You got me
Server.
on that then.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was a map, just like any
Yeah.
other map. I'm like, okay.
Well, yeah. Now that I think about it, does JEI has a map built in, doesn't it?
And that JEI is in that thing.
Hmm. Well, it's not on the server, but it's on the client side, so it would have a map. Because I remember pressing it, being like, "Oh yeah, I could just," and I hit it. I'm like, "Oh wait, nope, we can't because it's vanilla." And Des tried the same thing too, and she's like, "Yep, nope." I'm
I'll have
like,
to take a
"Oh,
picture of it next time. Cause yeah, it is a regular map. I can uh right click on a spot and set a waypoint.
did you have a mini map on the top right?"
Yes.
That we didn't have it.
You didn't have a mini map either?
No,
Whoa.
I wonder if you had a lingering mod on.
But aren't
Hmm.
they all installed in a different spot?
There's supposed to be different instances, yeah, in Curse Forge.
Huh.
Huh. We'll have to look that up. Look it up and
Yeah.
see. Unless I don't know, maybe because the bingo board that shows you everything is on the top right.
Right.
Maybe it was covering it up and we didn't see. But no, because I remember pressing M and nothing happening. Because I was upset because I was trying to waypoint where our base was.
Oh yeah, I did that easily. That's how
Hmm.
I found my way back home.
Yeah, because what we had to do is we had to hit F3 and get our X, Y, and Z coordinates.
Now it also had an option for teleporting between your waypoints, but that wasn't working. So I figured, oh, okay, so they locked this feature,
Hmm.
which makes sense. Why would you want to cheat like that?
Well, so the mod is the lockout mod is literally just the bingo board thing and the ability to check things off. It doesn't add anything else aside from that. So the only thing that would have been able to add would have been
JEI.
JEI. And the reason the teleport probably didn't work was because I didn't install it server side.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Is like, see, I'm sitting here thinking that's part of the mod.
No,
So I'm
JEI is a
thinking,
separate. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, they just locked it so that you wouldn't cheat.
Huh. Well, we'll have to check that out. Maybe hop in here after this and just see.
Yeah, because it,
Um,
it definitely made things a little easier
yeah,
trying to
it would
find.
have. I would have had a lot easier time finding lava and stuff. And the bamboo, which I did end up finding, which was literally
I couldn't.
behind our base, where
So
me and
by
Des
the
set up our base. It was
wow.
like it was like 300 blocks behind our base.
Yeah, by the time I had found bamboo, I'm like, "Oh, yes, I found bamboo." So I collected a bunch, and then as I'm heading back to my little house, I noticed that, you guys had already unlocked it. I'm like, "Crap."
Yeah. Yeah. But that's a fun one. It's definitely a fun one to play with other people, but I will let those know you do need to have a separate server running. It does not seem to work on a LAN setup. So I had to actually like you know how you can, if you know anything about Minecraft, you can go to Minecraft, start a single player game, then open the LAN.
Yeah.
I had to make my computer a server and then log in through there as a open server with the IP. Um,
Gotcha.
yeah, but we played that. We also played more Plexiglass Mountain. That's again, that's fun. Dez actually, me and Dez actually started a new one. It's FTB one, Feed the Beast one.
Mhm.
Um, just because she started to get to the end of the Plexiglass Mountain.
Yeah, 'cause
Uh,
there's no, like, goals per se, like you
yeah,
would in a chicken block or anything. Um,
yeah.
they have, like, an accomplishments list or whatever it's called, but it's not the same.
Yeah, it's not because you don't really get anything for it. And it doesn't really. I don't know. It doesn't really. They're not goals, is what it
No.
is. So I'm actually planning. I'm thinking of seeing what it's going to take to create my own mod. Um, when I say create my own mod, I'm gonna take. I'm
To other
gonna.
people's mind.
My intent is to take the chicken block mod and the bee and the sheep mods
Oh,
and
combine them all?
combine them, but then update them to 1.19. So adding the new resources and stuff,
Right.
which I can do the mods. That's fine, but then I've also got to. That's one thing. I'm making a mod pack, but I'm gonna actually. I need to know. I'm gonna have to learn how to edit and create mods outside of just the settings stuff.
Right.
So that's just a
Do a little
side project.
education on that.
Yeah, education. Other than that, like I said, Dynasty Warriors, Minecraft. We played some GTA Online. After that update,
Yes, so the update came out, oh, last Tuesday or something, last Thursday? And
26th or 27th or something like
yeah, there were big changes, long overdue changes, and
that.
it has made the game so much more playable to be able to not have to be stuck in a public lobby. You can actually play the online edition of the game
Without
privately.
having to deal with you stupid modders.
Yeah,
I'm going to say it. Screw all of you that mod and mess with people's games. Screw you all.
it is. It was not a good time, and now it is definitely a good time. Like,
Oh yeah.
I can hop into GTA, just play and enjoy the game, and then if like you or Taylor or Logan or somebody hops on, can have fun playing with them too, or Sarah as well.
Yeah. Well, we tried to get Taylor on here, but she didn't wanna.
That's okay. Not everybody wants to have their voice heard on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because she's like, I don't know what to say. I'm like, you don't I mean, we don't know what to say, but Taylor's funny. I don't think she realizes that she's actually pretty comedic. She's
Oh yeah,
she's pretty funny. But the update really helps. The one thing I am worried about, not worried about, is right now the money system of like earning, you make money with your business and stuff is like perfect, right? For me, it's the perfect
for the
amount of
most part,
money.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't say perfect. I mean, it's a lot better and it's actually usable and doable. Like I'll wait, I'll play the game, and you know, 15, 20 minutes later, I have $150,000 in my nightclub. Like that's not breaking the game in any way. It's still a grind, but it's easier. It's like, okay, I feel accomplished that I've done something.
Right.
But the caveat to that is right now, a lot of the stuff is 4 times payout for this time frame. So at some point, it is going to go down. So we're not actually seeing the actual boost that they made or the actual update change because we're seeing the update change times the plus the boost. So that
Right.
4 times I think boost is going to go away eventually, and we're going to go back down, and I'm going to be like, okay, better than it was, but it's not what it should be.
I mean, yeah, but I'll take that for, the ability to actually be able to play privately.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So now it is a much better game, and you had mentioned it when we were playing earlier, a little while. I mean, yesterday I think when we were playing with Bill. Actually, I think you had mentioned we would love I would love to see are now the concurrent players, like how drastic of a uptick or downtick happened for online GT Online players after the update.
Oh, yeah. It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, because I mean, I got in one day, and it was funny because I got in and let it sit for a little bit because I was doing something else, and I came back and sat down, and as I was getting ready to go into my own server, there was 4 other players coming in, all of them in multiple different directions coming into me, you could tell they're beelining for me. I'm like, oh, you guys are you trolls are so starved for people to mess with, and I love it.
Mhm.
So it's like I actually got waited a little bit and saw one of them on the horizon coming, and then as I saw them, I'm like, "Heh," and click the button to go on my own server. I was like, "Ah, it's so sweet. I love it." Other than that, I played Dinkum multiplayer,
Yes.
um, which we talked a little bit about a few episodes ago about what Dinkum is. But if you missed that, Dinkum is basically um, Animal Crossing in Australia with a mix of Stardew and a mix of kind of Minecrafty.
A little. I
Because
mean, if I had to compare, I'd say it's more Stardew than Minecraft, just
yeah,
because
yeah,
Stardew has the same type of crafting stuff in it.
yeah. You don't really, yeah, you don't have to there's no grid to put your materials in. You just have to have 5 iron and 2 sticks
Mhm.
and or whatever. But the thing Dinkum does really well, in my opinion, is that it does what Nintendo don't. I mean, it does what Animal Crossing won't do. You can craft multiple things.
Uh-huh.
You know, the
Like Stardew, it goes by days in game, not
right,
a real world calendar. So you're not stuck waiting 24 hours to build something. You only have to
right,
wait till the next sleep.
right. It saves like Stardew. It saves every time you sleep. So that's one thing I don't like. I can't. You have to end your day to save.
Yes. Well,
Yeah,
no. Can't you just go and lay down and rest and that'll save?
I don't think so. I haven't tried that actually. I thought I have always just ended my day to save. But that's a good point. I need
Yeah,
to try that.
I think you can. I think you can just go rest and it'll save. If
Huh.
not, then yeah, I mean, you got to, finish the day out.
Yeah, I'll have to try that. But it's a fun game, and we wanted to try the multiplayer because it said it had multiplayer, and we tried it out
Hmm.
a few days ago, and it's great. Like it is exactly what everyone, in my opinion, what everyone wanted Animal Crossing to be
Yes. I
multiplayer
mean,
wise.
whereas in Animal Crossing, you are just visiting the island and that's about it. In Dinkum, you are like a resident of the island. You're just happen to be their guest. So you can
Right,
do everything that the main island resident would be able to do. You can go out and dig, you can go and craft, you can go donate, you can go complete missions, you can still earn progress for your own character on your own island through friendships made on their island.
that's
So,
actually I forgot to ask you about. When you went back to your island, did you actually bring back that progression
oh, so you
for?
the progression I okay, so no, I haven't loaded up mine since we played co-op.
Okay.
Um the progression will make it back because when I entered your island, all the relationship progression between the
Oh, right.
characters,
The hearts were what you were, not what mine were.
yes.
Right.
So that'll come back. What I'm curious is
Will your
So,
stuff that you put into that travel bag come back?
yes, in the main tent, there's like a travel bag, and I it's different for everybody. So I assume that if you throw your stuff in there, then when you head back home, that stuff comes with you. That way, you're not just loading up your own pockets. Since you can't really store anything of your own and take it back home like with a regular chest or something. So I assume that's what that does. And the next time I boot it up, I will double check.
Right. I do want to give credit because this game was developed and published by a single person, James Bendon.
Which that's
A
crazy.
single person created this game, and it's great. Like it really is. It's an amazing game. The guy did really well. Uh, what I love about it, while I'm looking most forward to, is that you can set up a farm, like an actual farm, and do the Stardew Valley thing of like
Oh
grow
yeah.
these plants. You know, you get these seeds, but you can also, you play in instead of an overhead 2D plane, this is a 3D world that you're playing in, you know?
Right.
And then, the map is fairly big, and we still haven't even looked at all of it because there is an underground, there's a mining, there's a mine that you can get to
See,
that's
that
underground.
you didn't even know.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a whole mine area that you can just like Stardew. Um, we haven't gotten there yet. But I mean, what the 2 or 3 days that we've played it, and I know at least for me, it's engulfed my whole day.
Oh yeah.
Like it was hours of gameplay.
Yeah, like the day that you introduced me to it, I think I had put in like 6 or 8 hours in
Uh-huh.
that day.
Yeah. So this gentleman, James Bendon, um, I presume I'm saying it right because it's not terribly difficult, but he's got it.
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, it's
Oh
not without its faults. There are some
no,
things
but
that I would like to see changed. Mainly just the so Animal Crossing would call it Animalese, but it's just the
yeah,
voice of the characters. Um,
the little grating,
it's a
the
little
little
grating, yeah.
more
It,
disturbing.
it's
Yeah.
a little fast. It's a little too harsh. Um, it doesn't have that same soft appeal that something like an Animal Crossing does.
Mhm.
Um, Also, I think I prefer having animal characters than the people characters, but that's the style he's going for, so it's whatever.
Yeah, and I think some of that the animal characters is what makes it alluring and like that cute factor. Um I because it's that like almost the collection factor, right? You're okay collecting animal characters, but you're not necessarily okay with collecting human
People.
people.
Yeah,
If that makes sense, right? You're more apt to be like, "Oh yeah, I want you on my island and I don't want you on my island because you're a cute little dog or something."
right.
Whereas you being like, "Oh, I want you on my island, not you because I don't like your face."
Yeah. A little harsher.
It seems a little harsher, exactly. Um, but yeah, oh yeah, I'm all about this. I think this guy's got it, got the right idea, and hopefully he continues.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it's still technically beta,
Yeah, beta,
or
early
early
access,
access, yeah.
one
So
of the 2.
I'm excited for this guy to work with it. It's on Steam, $20, and it does have partial controller support.
Yeah,
I don't know what partial controller support means because
it seems pretty,
full fledged
robust.
to me.
Yeah. That's how I'm playing, and it works really well.
Yeah, so um, he's doing good. I'm excited for more to it.
Yes.
Um, I think he's supposed to have. Oh yeah, here we go. I'm on the Steam page right now. So he does have a roadmap. Um, update number one is buildable guest houses for multiplayer.
Oh, see? There we go. That'll
So
be
that
really cool.
yeah. Then there's update two is a Bloomin' Spring event with a new NPC that can move to the island and some new activities. Update three's Summer Sun, which is another seasonal event. Okay, and then Breezy Autumn, which is another seasonal event. And he said all updates it will include new fish, bugs, crops, recipes, and clothing.
Oh, neat.
So he seems to have a good plan. That's cool. I'm all for it.
Me too.
Um, and then the other games I've been playing are simulators.
Good way
So
to pass the time.
Oh yeah, I was just playing Power Washer Simulator, and I mean that's just that. I didn't feel like playing anything intense because I knew we were going to start a podcast. So I'm like, I'll get a few of these done just to mess around.
It's
Um,
such a good
I
game.
It is. I played Lawnmower Simulator.
How is the lawnmower simulator?
It is a simulator game, and it works the
Uh,
same mechanics, same way. You gotta you're running a business, you're running a lawn mowing business. You gotta get a mower. You've got to take it off the truck. You don't have to drive the truck there, but you go to the job. You get on the mower, start the mower, turn on your RPMs, get off the truck, put your blade down, mow. Fill up the gas if it need to, if you're running long enough, empty the bin if you need to, if you have the bin one. If you have the one that shoots the grass at the side, you at the end of the cutting the grass, you've got to go around and pick up all the grass clippings if the
mhm.
customer wants it. You do have to change the deck height depending on the customer, the height of the grass. Uh, Before you go mow, you've got to go out. You don't have to, but you given time to go out and pick up stuff in the yard so you don't run over it.
Okay.
Obviously you don't want to run over their flowers in the flower bed because you get fined money for that. You also get fined money if you're turning too long at too high of a speed because then you tear up the grass.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I found that one out. Didn't tell me that. I found out and was like, "You've been fined." I'm like, for what? High speed turn or something like that. I'm like, all right, okay.
Y'all messing.
Right? You messing. You tripping. Um, I can see I can certainly see how it could be cathartic and just like Power Washer Simulator, fun in that sense. I realized I not only don't like mowing in real life, I also don't like mowing in video games. I just don't like
Eh,
mowing.
I mean, it's probably it's an okay um portion of like house flipper is to do the lawn work. It's
Yeah,
not
so
bad.
in House Flipper I don't mind it, but I think it's because I can do something else. Like it's not just the game. That's not the whole game. Um, and there's more to the lawnmower simulator too. I mean, like you, it's kind of like a American Truck Simulator where you own your own business and you can hire other people to do other lawns while you're doing a lawn. So
Okay.
it's kind of like a business simulator on top of that. So it gets more in depth. I don't think I'll be playing too much of it. Like I said, I realize I just don't like mowing lawns. I mean, it's pretty apparent I should have known because the first thing I wanted to do when I got my home, I contacted the city and they told me I couldn't. I wanted to pave over my lawn with asphalt or cement because I don't like grass. I don't like it. I don't want to mow. They said I couldn't do it because there's the water main and all that jazz underneath it, and in case they need to get to it, all that crap.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's apparently ordinances that you have to have a certain amount of lawn here. I'm like, well, poo on you. So I have to mow.
Ooh,
Uh,
you know what the cool new thing is that I'm seeing people post a lot online? Clover
river
lawns.
clover lawn. What the hell's a clover lawn?
So instead of just regular grass, your lawn is made out of clover or short clover.
Oh, ugh.
So the benefits they say is that one, clovers are softer. Two, you don't have to cut clovers because they only grow to a certain height anyway. And three, they don't need as much water, if at all any, because uh, they withhold all their water in the top layer and something, something, something. But
And something.
it seems like it is probably the best option for a lawn, unless you don't like the look of clovers.
I just don't want to take care of the lawn.
Well, and that's why for you, that might be something you might want to look into then. Because you plant those clovers down, then you don't have to worry about it at all ever
But
again.
do the clovers take over the grass?
Well, yeah, you're replacing your grass with clover.
So what do I'd have to kill the grass first and then put clover in?
I don't think
Or
so.
do, or the is the clover like a weed where it will take the nutrients and stunt out the grass?
I believe, if you so I don't know, how they do it. My guess, just as someone who's worked on his own lawn at times, is that you'd probably have to, for the best coverage, till up your lawn and then put down the patches of clover like you would
Okay.
grass. And then the
Hmm.
clover will, work its way and it'll become a clover lawn.
I'm about to I have to look into that because I hate grass and I hate lawns.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with them.
One of the other things I remember hearing is like, um, they don't die from like pet urine either.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's one thing that's always confused me. I don't know if maybe Groot's urine is Miracle Grow, but wherever that damn dog pees, the grass goes like 30 feet high. It's ridiculous.
No, that's like all dogs for some strange reason. They have lots of nutrients or nitrates or something, and it causes the grass to be like, yeah.
Right? It's like kill. I don't know. I don't. You're doing exactly the opposite of what I want you to do with this grass. I don't. I want it to die. I want it to go away. Then again, I think in uh our city ordinance, you have to have a lawn and it has to be maintained. Um,
Well, clover is still a lawn.
right. That's it. Clover's still a lawn. I guess. I don't know. I'd have to look into city
Yeah, you'd
ordinances
have to
and
look into it,
crap.
but it would
But
save you a lot of work.
yes, it would save me. It could end up saving me a lot of work. And the last thing I played was Electrician Simulator.
Huh?
This is a uh early access, not even early access. Actually what I played was a free demo. Um Electrician Simulator, and it is European. A guy that made it is European. So if you're in the United States, it's not going to be your three prong or two prong with your ground,
Okay.
uh your AC with the ground. It'll be the two prongs or the three actual prongs, and it's a slightly different wiring setup, but I think it's pretty nifty. Obviously, they actually have a warning at the beginning of of the game of it saying, "Do not try any of this at home." Kind of jazz. Like this is not an instructional video to teach you how to be an electrician. This is for entertainment purposes. And I can at first I was like, "Oh, okay, sure, all right, whatever." And then as I was getting into the game, into it, the demo, I'm like, "Okay, I can see where someone doing this might think, oh, I know what I'm doing." Because it does go through, like, you walk into the home, the first thing you wanna do is turn off your breaker, find your breaker a fuse panel, turn off your breaker. Um, it says you can turn off the, the breaker to the thing, but, me being, an engineer, electrical engineer, uh, I'm turning the main breaker off and I'm using a flashlight. Like, I'm just everything's dead. I don't need to deal with, did I hit the right breaker? Because you never know, especially if you're going into someone else's house, if it's labeled correctly. So I'm just main breaker off. You do that, then you go to do the object, the issue. So like a light switch doesn't work or an outlet doesn't work. Um, and being the demo, those are the only two things that I really did. Was I fixed an outlet, so you had to like unscrew the plate, unscrew the actual socket, and then either wire or rewire the back. So you had to take the um, the wiring in the wall, which you don't have to pull that. That's already there, and then you put it into the right slot into the back of the socket. Make sure that you've got uh, your live and your live connections and your neutral put in. Um, so that's pretty nifty. And then there's another section of like you had to actually wire things up. So like you're not like going in the wall, but you're like this light needs to be wired to this light switch. So you
Mhm.
take the cable, you get a cable like in your inventory, and you click on the output of the switch, and you run it up to to up the wall and to the left or whatever until you get to um the output of the light switch. You get to the input of the light, and it works. You flip it on and off. So obviously there's some missing simulation there of like, why you would really need to run the cable down and then wire it to the switch. In this case, you just say, okay, the switch is wired to power, and now you just need to tell the cable to connect to the switch, and that's it. So it's that's kind of fun. I think it's pretty nifty. It could work pretty well if the person that's doing it, does takes it a couple steps further. The one thing I actually really liked about that game was that there's like a bench that you can work on small projects. So like the one of the things was like a handheld gaming the controller, and then there was
Oh.
another one that was like a like a light sensor or something. And basically, you take the little game controller and you unscrew the four screws in the back. You take the back panel out, then you unscrew the screws inside. Take the PCB board and the green boards out, and then you disassemble everything, right? And then you can actually makes it go down even further to be like, okay, this capacitor on this green board is bad. So you take the soldering iron, desolder, and then pull that part out, buy a new one, and solder that back in,
Hmm.
and then put it all back together. And it's all just click. So like you're not doing a whole lot of like the solder isn't okay. I need to take the solder and heat it up, heat the part up to get the solder to melt onto the part and wick effect, that kind of thing. But so it's not like you're actually doing it, but you just you click on it and it does it. So it's a entertaining way of doing a tedious thing.
Gotcha. I
Yeah.
mean, that's neat. Um, I still think it would be interesting to be able to combine a lot of these simulators into like a simulator universe. Like, hey, your lawnmower isn't working anymore because something's wrong with the battery. Better get the electrician guy out here. Oh, now we've got to transport it because it's not working here. Better call the trucking guy from American Truck Sim and get it on over to uh the shop where somebody there will work on another sim. Oh, wait, we need gas. Better stop by the gas station for the gas simulation sim.
So they would need to have two separate ones. They need to have business simulator and home simulator. So
Yeah.
that way it's like you have the American truck simulator and the business ones on one side, but then you get the home simulator where it's like, you're a handyman, a DIYer, and you're ordering something from like Amazon and you're waiting for the Amazon truck to come in. So you know, you are the Amazon delivery driver and you you
Uh huh.
deliver
See
deliver
that
everything
that would be cool. And some of those simulators are published by the
within the
same
same company.
publisher.
Yeah.
So, it's not that far off to be like, hey, can you guys work together for our cool new game that's like Simulator World?
That only like a handful of people will really ever
Yeah.
care about
Yeah.
or even think it's a good idea. Yeah. Oh yeah. But that would be us.
It
I'd
would.
play the crap out of that. If it was just all those games kind of tied together in a loosely good fashion,
Uh-huh.
I'd play the crap out of it.
I think so. I would. I'd spend a lot of time doing that. Or like, assigning myself to a thing and having it, let's say it's an MMO type of thing. And, you're or like just co-op type of thing, working with everybody. Being pretty neat. I mean, but that would be something that you would want to look forward to in the future.
Right.
Someone might be able to design something like that.
Yeah, put out in the ether maybe just because we've said it, you know. I'm not saying, audience, hey, go talk about it, but maybe the ether will get it into some of these developers' heads and be like, "Oh, that's a good idea. I wonder where that came from." Oh well.
Hey, maybe in 20 years, they might have a game like that.
Yeah, we'll be VR in it and playing it and on our own.
So,
Just
speaking of 20 years, our topic today is just kind of a discussion on how we might think gaming would look in, roughly 20 years' time. What do you think gaming would look like here in the not too distant future? And for myself, I'm thinking it's gonna end up being a lot of AR stuff.
oh yeah. Um,
VR is kind of like the stepping stone to AR. There's gonna be a point in time where either the console is gonna be on your head or the headset, the AR headset, is going to wirelessly transmit from a console or computer, and you're going to play your games that way. You're not going to need uh, a TV if you're playing by yourself. Um, you'll just watch it in your periphery.
Yeah. Um, that's, yeah, 100% how I feel. I kind of feel that it's going to be, like you said, more AR, but like it's going to be a wireless setup of uh, a box or device pushing the visual to a headset or pushing
Mhm.
the visual to glasses or some sort of overlay,
Yeah,
right? Yeah. Um, and I was thinking about it in 20 years. So basically, when Keegan is our age,
yeah, yeah. When he's the host of this podcast.
right? When he's the host of this podcast and he's rolling through, and we're too old and crotchety to like new things, and we're just playing our Power Washer Simulator game because back in our day,
Right, back in our day.
we didn't have this newfangled VR and AR. We didn't pet them with our gloves. No, 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 no,
He'll be on episode 1040.
no. Wow.
Hey, hey, I'm Keegan Acosta, and welcome to dotEXE. We're on episode 1040.
What would make it even funnier is that he will say, "Welcome to welcome to .exe. I have no idea what that podcast name means. The reference is gone."
The reference is lost on me. We just say open. We just open our app. What
We
do you
think
mean
about it.
the app has an extension to it?
What's an extension? What is this word you speak of? Yeah. I think it's a lot of like moving outside of the bound of
Mhm.
the game being bounded between a screen. It's that like bringing it outside to not necessarily tangible, but within your world. It's about immersion.
So
I'm
what
Mhm.
about for your controllers? Like I can see moving away from the traditional two stick, one massive unit controller, but what about like a mouse and keyboard? Do you ever see a mouse and keyboard setup for gaming at least go in the way of the dodo?
I actually see the mouse and keyboard going away just like the controller would um with haptic gloves being replaced
So
or using to replace it. Not in the haptic gloves that we currently have, but ones that that create one to one in space,
so the only
right?
thing I I'm I'm a little like hesitant on saying that's the way that's going to go is whenever you're doing anything that doesn't physically have, a physical component like a keyboard or something, um, then you're not getting that feedback. So
Yeah.
you'd have to have some sort of haptic glove that would give you pressure feedback so that you're hitting keys. Otherwise,
Well,
you're playing the Connect.
and here's the thing though, is that for us that makes sense. But as it progresses, there's that like loss of tech
Oh,
that's not
sure.
needed. So
I
I truly believe in like 20 years the need to have feedback, a tactile feedback will be gone. Like it won't be a requirement because it's not commonplace anymore.
so
There's
I mean,
there's actually a glove out there now, and it's rudimentary, but it's a glove out there now where you don't use a keyboard or any visuals to type. It's all the how you move the fingers. Like you tell it to be in keyboard mode, and then you do certain finger hand
yes.
movements to make the letters.
I have seen those. Yes,
Yeah.
it's just you're doing finger movements and it's typing. But I can see where it can be designed where tactile feedback might not be needed in the future, but at the same time, you have people who are designing tech that does give you tactile feedback.
Yeah.
So, like, right now you don't get much in the way of feedback from a touchscreen, but they're working on tech that gives you that tactile feedback of like pressing a button, but it's a smooth screen, or dragging something across and it feels like there's resistance. So, as much
Yeah.
as the thought that it would go away, there's still this, I still believe there's the same line of thought that would keep it around. Just because you're using your hands for other things and you're
Right.
used to, having that sort of
Well, I
instant
th-
feedback.
I think it also depends on what catches on. Like you don't really obviously we're not soothsayers and we don't know the future, but uh we- to know what will catch on and what won't catch on. But
Mhm.
you know, crazier things have caught on and become
This
so
is
not
true.
common everyday things. I mean, back in you know early 70s, 80s, you know, the thought of being able to talk to someone on a wireless device,
Uh-huh.
was outrageous. Like it you just didn't it wasn't done. You
Well,
know,
yeah. I mean,
the amount of Mhm.
we grew up in a time where having a car phone, a car bag phone,
was yeah,
was like this cool, wow, I can't believe this works.
right. I mean, right now, everybody can go to wherever they're either they could be listening to this podcast on it on their cell phone right now. But you hold your cell phone. What's in your hand right now is more power, more battery, more processing power than was on the Apollo
Yeah.
moon mission.
Yeah. What
Like,
that little thing that you're holding has more oomph than what got people to the moon.
right, and back. it's 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 just so crazy to think. But I mean, that's it. Is like, 20 years. That's not a lot realistically.
No, no, the grand
Over
scheme. I mean, what is 20 years ago? That's 2000.
right? Y2K.
So we were, well, let's see, we were playing GameCube, PlayStation 2, and Xbox.
Yeah. I mean, look at that, right? Or on
In 20
PS5.
years, in 20 years time, we've added online gaming to that.
Yeah.
And
And effective online gaming,
yeah,
massive multiplayers. We're adding ray tracing, like these things that can make realistically what was a cinematic gameplay
yeah. In fact, gameplay in some modern games look better than some cinematics from
from 2000s.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's kind of
Yeah.
crazy how far we've come. At the same time, how far can we go? When it comes to graphics, like obviously there's going to be that uncanny valley section. Right now, everything looks realistic, quote unquote, but it still looks like art.
Yeah.
Um, we're gonna hit a point where
There's a
things look,
softness that doesn't have.
yeah, we're gonna hit a point where it doesn't look right,
It's going to be
and
unnerving.
it is, and I feel like people are going to hit it and then shy away from it, try not to push over it. Mainly because I think we as a human race do not want to hit that point, just because uh the the consequences that come from it.
I was going to say that. So my consequences, I was thinking of like you hit that point and push over it, and now it's like realistic. Now you're not. You're telling a story, and you're feeling empathy or sympathy for these characters. What can and can't you do now? Because then these are going to be far more. People are going to be far more emotionally invested,
Uh-huh.
and like it'll be a much more visceral feel
Uh-huh.
and reaction. To you know these polygons, which are now no longer polygons.
Well, right. I mean, they are, but to
Right.
you, the player, that could be a real person.
Right. It could feel very connected, very much like a real person because it has more or less, for lack of a better term, a soul. Right.
Mhm.
You're looking into it, the character's eyes, or into the character's plot, and you're feeling an entity there. And then what happens to them, your people may start reacting like as if this was a real person having this react, being these things happening to them, and it becomes much more visceral and much more real.
Right.
So I don't think I would like to say that they would, developers would not go past that mark because then it's no longer entertainment, right?
Right. Then you're just making a simulation.
Then you're making a simulation, right? And then you're feeling these stresses for real, which is kind of the opposite of what you want to
Right.
feel when you're playing video games. So I think there is a limit graphically wise that goes. I don't think there's much of a limit. I mean, there is obviously an overall physical limit, but I don't think there's much of a limit on like how you interact with
No.
the games.
I
Um,
mean, I guess the end goal is that you're able to feel what's in that scene. So, like, take
with
a VR or AR experience, and you can pick up something, and you feel you are holding a soda can. Like, there's pressure and force being exerted onto it,
right,
but it's fake.
but it's a feel that is drawn upon experience. So like the like they'd have finding the whole attempt I would think is going to happen is they're going to find a way to make these tactile feelings without actually doing them. So they're relying on the human mind to have already experienced it and to trigger something that'll make them feel, oh, I'm holding this soda can when they're not actually holding something and they're not having to like claw the hand or something like that. You know what I mean? Like using a motor to make it claw like that. Like it's some sort of tactile feel or even audible feel that makes you feel that. Because I mean, like you're playing GTA and you get shot. You don't want some plunger hitting you in the head.
I
to
mean,
where-
I mean they do have those kickback suits and everything where they basically got um motors or sensors on the what looks like
the
an
solenoids, yeah.
umpire's outfit type of chest plate,
Yeah.
and yeah, they will kick you, they will hit you when you get shot, or like the butt kicker seat stuff where it'll send shocks or vibrations to make it feel like you've been hit in this particular spot with a blunt object or whatnot.
Right. But see, those are not things that those are specialty things. Right? And those are not things that I could like you were saying, like you can't mass produce that as a VR headset for a general audience to buy. Like it won't be like, hey, everyone can buy a PS5 or everyone can buy an Xbox. You're not gonna say, yeah, everyone should buy this thing that's going to hurt you. Like
No, no, when it comes to like accessories for a console,
mainstream.
well, no, I'm not even going to say that. I would say accessories just in general. They never sell as well as the console itself.
That's true.
Like,
Yeah.
other than a controller, you might sell more of those, but that's because they're cheaper. But you're not going to sell, let's say the consoles are still like $500 to $600. You're not going to mass market $800, sensation suits. It just isn't,
Not in the cards.
financially,
Yeah.
responsible.
Right.
Now, if the system came with it, that's a different story.
But I think that's also that, like, the system came with it. You have to limit what that accessory is. All right. It can't cause actual damage.
Well, no,
And
and
it can't
it's
even
all
close to it.
virtual. Like, you're not going to buy something that's physically actually going to harm you. It's a simulated harm. It's just
Yeah.
like it's a simulated, feel, a simulated touch.
Cotton, the fabric of our lives.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, that was like a what, 90s commercial that I'm sure a lot of people have no idea.
Fruit of the
What
Loom, Hanes,
Fruit
one
of
of
the
the two.
Loom. I think it was Hanes, right?
I don't remember.
Fabric of Our Lives. I'm pretty sure that was Hanes.
Maybe.
Let's see
I
here.
keep thinking it's Fruit of the Loom.
Let's see. Fabric of Our Lives commercial. It is.
Mhm.
Okay, well, why does I mean, I typed in the fabric of our lives. Cotton. It's neither
Is
of
it
us.
just cotton
It
itself?
is cotton.
Well, Fruit of the Loom is
It's
made of
neither.
cotton. I take that as a win.
I completely forgot that that was like a brand of thing, like
So where do we see
cotton.
cotton in 20 years?
Where we see cotton in 20 years, you know, being made into fabric still. Because
Actually, you think about that. Uh, a lot more synthetic fibers are being made. So, you'll find more poly blends or poly ester shirts.
I can say that of all the things I can be 100% certain of, cotton will stay. There'll still be clothes widely made out of cotton, and that's due to like the job that I have. If you don't have FR rated clothing or want to buy FR rated clothing, you want natural cotton. So like just by the its natural properties, things like jeans
Hmm.
um don't burn, they smolder, they much harder to catch a blaze than synthetic stuff. So yeah.
But that's
I
that's
personally
current
cotton's gonna be.
synthetic stuff. Who's to say that they don't come up with a synthetic fiber that does the same properties as cotton or better and
I
it's
mean, they
cheaper?
do. That's FR, but it's FR treated stuff. So like uh
Right,
it's synthetic and treated,
but it's not cheaper.
but it's not cheaper is the
Right,
thing.
that's the part I was getting there is, and it's cheaper.
Oh, I don't think that's gonna happen. I really don't. There's honestly, there's few things that match the properties of like a lot of natural things that we have that are both cheaper and better. It's either cheaper or it's better. It very rarely is it both.
And usually it's a supply issue too.
Oh yeah,
It's better because it's made of better quality materials which are harder to come by, or it's cheaper because it's made of less good materials because they are easier to come by.
but see, that's what makes gaming and tech so much different because it's all like none of it is truly natural, right? It's all synthetic. It's all created, so it really only just has to beat previous things.
Well, I mean, when it comes to hardware, uh
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah,
it is created by human hands and design. So it's using components made by human hands, and some of those are harder to find than others.
true. It's material wise.
So,
I think gaming is going to look pretty. It's just going to be out there. You know, I don't think me or you have a good enough concept of what 20 years will be because I think it's gonna change drastically.
oh, I mean, yeah. And there's going to be things that are just unforeseen.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
like jump in technology. Like
yep.
currently, they have there is a way to wirelessly charge your phone from feet away through Bluetooth. It's just not viable monetarily yet. Um, but
Well, yeah.
that is a thing now. I mean, they've been able to pass voltage through air off of Bluetooth signals for 10, 20 years, I think, or 10, 15 years.
Yeah, it's about finding the happy medium where it's cheap enough, reliable enough, and useful enough that you can sell it to somebody.
Yeah. That's the key. See, it all comes down to can you sell it?
Of course, that's the world today. You have to be able to make money off of it. Otherwise, why do it?
Why do it? Right.
Which is sad, but it's the way the world works.
Inevitable.
Well, I want to thank you guys for joining us today. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the .exe podcast. Did you enjoy today's discussion? Let us know. Send us your comments, questions, topics, and corrections to .exe@savingcontent.com or leave us a comment at Saving Content on Twitter and Facebook. Saving Content is also on YouTube, so subscribe for video previews, reviews, trailers, and original content like this here .exe podcast. Are you looking for more gaming discussions? Then check out Saving Content's Quick Save podcast with Evan and Scott. They just had a recent episode go up this week, and they talk about some fun stuff. I'm about halfway through it. Good.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I've listened to a little bit. Oh, actually, I think I actually listened all the way through it.
But
Yeah, it was good.
It's good. And if you go watch the Twitch archive, or even live on Evan's channel. They both have cameras now, so you get to see Scott's handsome face as well.
Ah, sexy man.
He's sexy, yeah, and he knows it. Now, remember to also visit savingcontent.com for the latest news and reviews. And speaking of Scott, he has put up a video, not a video, he's put up a review on a video camera, a webcam, the Razer Kyo? I don't actually know how to pronounce that, but I believe that's the webcam he's actually using for the podcast now. So
that's what I was going to ask about. Is that the same one? I'll have to read that review, see if he mentions that.
Do believe that's the same one. And it actually looks really nice. He's going to have to adjust some of his lighting setup at the desk, but looks really good. And it's a big step over the old camera that he had. I have also reviewed the Turtle Beach Velocity 1 flight control system. Basically a flight control wheel and levers and what do they call it? A yoke. I come from steering wheels, so it is different terminology, but same basic idea. It's basically for simulators. And it's a really nice system. It is a nice build quality. The actual controller itself is fun to use, but again, you can kind of only use it with flight type games. So I was using it with Flight Simulator. Definitely would recommend if you got the money for it. Now, before we go, we only ask for one tiny favor: a simple 5-star review. You can even do it right in your app of choice. Finally, don't forget to tell all your friends about us here at dotEXE. It'll help us grow and we'd really appreciate it. So, thank you for listening, and remember, kindness costs us nothing, but it means everything. Good night.